Well, Daniel Andrews has hit back at claims his government sought revenge on the state's Anti-Corruption Commission. An explosive letter has leaked alleging a Labor-dominated parliamentary committee directed auditors to, quote, dig up dirt on IBAC. Victorian political reporter Simon Love is in Melbourne. Simon, what are the claims and what has Daniel Andrews had to say about them this morning?
Morning, Laura. Well, the leaking of this explosive letter, which both houses of parliament have had motions earlier this week to try and have the contents of this letter released. The letter was from the IBAC Commissioner before he left his post, Robert Redlich, to the presiding officers of the parliament, both the Speaker of the lower house and the President of the upper house, alleging that the Parliament's Integrity and Oversight Committee, a powerful committee, had actually tried to dig up dirt on IBAC in a bit of a revenge hit. I'll read from some of that letter that has been leaked and published by the Herald Sun today. So the letter from Robert Redlich says that the audit firm Collider provided IBAC with alarming advice that they'd been directed by the IOC Audit Subcommittee to find dirt on IBAC that's not readily publicly available. IBAC was advised the IOC is looking for evidence to support a narrative that IBAC's not performing. The chair, a majority of the subcommittee, seemed intent on casting IBAC in a negative light for what we can only assume were political reasons relating to the work undertaken by IBAC. So explosive claims there from Robert Redlich. Here was the response from Premier Daniel Andrews at a news conference this morning, essentially saying he hasn't read this letter, it wasn't addressed to him, and he won't be taking any action at this point.
But I absolutely reject any suggestion by him or anybody else that the government does not behave appropriately. The government does behave appropriately.
And Daniel Andrews says it's inappropriate for him to respond because the letter wasn't addressed to him.
Any assertion from anybody, whether they're an ex or a current or have a view or don't, I reject any contention that my office behaves in anything other than appropriate terms. You want to determine parliamentary committee membership? Well, then get yourself elected.
So Daniel Andrews is essentially saying there that Robert Redlich, now that he's no longer the IBAC Commissioner, has no status in the government. Now, Harriet Shing, the former chair of that Integrity and Oversight Committee, who has since become a minister in the Andrews government, she's come through Parliament doors this morning and defended her time on the committee.
Again, I'm not going to run a commentary on any comments made by a former chair of IBAC. The Integrity and Oversight Committee has its job to do, and I will leave it to discharge its obligations and to do so in accordance with the Parliamentary Committees Act.
And Laura, Harriet Shing was famous for being the chair of the committee when it actually cut the public broadcast of a feed involving the IBAC Commissioner, Robert Redlich. I was in the room when this actually occurred, and she read the Riot Act to Liberal MPs when they were trying to question Robert Redlich as to whether Daniel Andrews was questioned in private about a number of investigations. It's since emerged that he was definitely questioned once, and it's been reported that he's been questioned in 3 other instances. So expect the opposition to seize on this. They're holding a news conference at 10:15.
OK, Simon, thank you.